Good evening, one and all. I, Gulshan Kumar, Director of ITM Business School, Chennai. Welcome all the respected academician from teaching fraternity to the FDP organized exclusively by ITM Chennai. I won't agree to say when life gives you lemon, then make lemonade out of it. Rather, would settle with a learning that comes from ages. Make hay while sun shines. Yes, this pandemic did brought many good things along with it also. Digital, which otherwise we were not ready to accept it then, has now become a part of our life, working and networking. Suddenly, word has become so small it seems. Geographical constraint, which otherwise used to exist earlier, has suddenly diminished in this digital era. Yes, this pandemic has given a breakthrough to digital world where we can now connect to each other with such an ease. Going forward, about today's FDP, which is about evaluation and feedback, is very important but often neglected area, be it in teaching field or corporate culture. Rightly stated by Janice Aurela, assessment theories and academics alike espouse the importance of feedback on performance of assessment tasks for supporting improvement and progress in student learning achievement. Contrary to that, inaccurate feedback may affect your bottom line. And that is why giving feedback as well as accepting the feedback itself is an art. To explore further on this and own the art of evaluation and feedback, let's get started. Happy learning. Thank you for your participation. Today we have our star speaker of the day, Pintu Mahato, an adjunct professor at ITM Business School, Chennai, and division director at Toastmasters International, a corporate grooming trainer, gold credential in advanced communication, and silver credential in advanced leadership. Also, we have very special HRD personality with us, Professor RSS Mani. RSS Mani sir is an eminent career mentor with over 3 decades of experience, a famous personality among HR fraternity, and Vice President Institutional Development at ITM Group of Institution, Chief Mentor of PGDM and MBA program across the ITM Group, an alumnus of prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences. He was a gold medalist in MBA Human Resources stream. Professor RSS Mani is highly regarded as an HRD guru in HRD circle for his pioneering contribution in the area of training, development, and career planning and guidance. Mani sir is also a highly respected authority in the area of career planning and guidance for students, faculties, and executives. He is the recipient of over 20 awards in the last decade for his outstanding contribution to the cause of management education and career guidance. Also, he is the president of Bombay Management Association. Sir, welcome to the session.
Thank you.
A few words of wisdom from your side, please.
Good evening, everybody, and let me welcome you on behalf of the ITM group and in particular ITM Chennai. Thank you, Gulshan, for all those lovely words. When Gulshan says share some words of wisdom, it obviously means that he's kind of stating to you how old I have become, and old men usually give you wise bits of information is what he's trying to tell you. I know you have a wonderful speaker in Mahato waiting to charm you and wow you with his experiences and a great deal of knowledge that he's going to share on this wonderful topic which Gulshan already spoke about. I welcome all the teaching fraternity in particular and the corporate executives on behalf of ITM Chennai. This is a wonderful time to sit back and learn. I know we are going through a setback, but please remember, post-setback, there's going to be a comeback. And the comeback should be one which is something which will be wonderful for all of us. With that perspective, it's always good to sharpen the saw, as they say. And that's what we are trying to attempt to do to all these webinars. I must compliment Gulshan and his team. I think they've done 20 plus of these webinars for students, faculties, executives, and all over India. And the last 2 webinars incidentally had international participation. So that kind of reconfirms that geography today has become history. No more are we talking of barriers to the learning process. You can learn if you want to learn, and here is a facility and here is an opportunity available to you. I'm sure Pintu Champ Mahato will talk about it in plenty, but I just want to leave 2, 3 messages. Please remember, as teachers, as trainers, we have one responsibility to our stakeholder, the learner. Whatever we do for them must have a positive impact. And this is something we must always keep in mind, whether we are delivering a lecture, whether we are in a training program, or whether we are part of a seminar trying to address a topic or a theme of contemporary interest. Can I make a positive impact is the first question we need to ask, because this is part of the evaluation process that we have to internalize. Because I owe a responsibility to all the learners that I should be in a position to give them something which has a positive impact. The second thing you need to keep in mind is, during this entire process of teaching, training, delivery, what value addition am I making to the process of learning, of enrichment, of gaining experience, of gaining practical knowledge for the learners. So second, value addition. You can't just take it for granted that the audience is available, so you're going to speak. In a classroom, you could have locked people. In a Zoom session, you can't lock people. It's very easy for them to disappear as easily as they appeared. So therefore, we need to be conscious, are we adding value at all? And the last point, which is an integral part of this session, is please remember, feedback doesn't mean saying something on the face and something else behind. Feedback doesn't mean say only good things just because the trainer would like to hear it. Feedback means giving an accurate input on what went right and what went wrong. If you don't like the word wrong, you can say what went right and what could be better. That's the important aspect of feedback. And unless we develop the conviction, unless we have the courage to express ourselves in a manner which is unemotional, nothing personal about it. If I want feedback, then the objective is, can I improve in the process? So please keep these 3 little things which I suggested to you, where we are talking about the importance of a positive impact, value addition, and feedback should be as genuine, feedback should be as objective, so that there is something meaningful at the end of the whole process. I noticed that there are a lot of people coming from various parts of Tamil Nadu. I know lockdown has been imposed again, but that's the advantage of digital. You can still be as active as you wish to be. Sometime later, as we go on, we invite you to our Chennai campus. Come meet our young team over there, led by Gulshan Kumar, and see how we are trying to transform the lives of students who come to us to do their MBA programs by putting to practice positive impact, value addition, and giving them feedback that makes them better corporate managers and good citizens of modern India. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you, Pintu. I've heard a lot about you from Gulshan. You've been a regular star faculty in our campus, and it's a pleasure to be part of this learning process for some time before I move on to some other meeting. The problem in digital is you don't follow Saturday, Sunday. You just follow when somebody is free or not free. So happy learning, everybody. And thank you, Gulshan, for having me over. Have a great learning activity.
Thank you, sir. Indu, over to you for a formal opening.
Thank you, Gulshan. Thank you, Professor Mani sir, for your valuable words. As usual, your presence over here is always very optimistic vibe to us, and happy to see your face in all our webinars and upcoming webinars also, and all the faculty development programs also. Thank you so much for your words, sir.
Thank you.
Very good evening to everybody who's present here. Good evening, Pintu sir. Good evening, Gulshan, and to all the faculties who joined the faculty development programs and our very own faculties in ITM Business School Chennai. On behalf of ITM Business School Chennai, I welcome all the participants to the faculty development program on evaluation and feedback by Pintu Mahato, Adjunct Professor of ITM Business School Chennai, Division Director of Toastmasters International. ITM Business School Chennai is a part of ITM Group of Institute founded in 1991 by Dr. P.V. Ramana. ITM Business School Chennai was established in 1993. The spacious campus is located inside the Sipcot IT Park at Sidiseri. It is a great experience because the campus is about more than 20 years of old experience and with an exceptional facility and infrastructure. We have a faculties more than 10 years of an experience in educational as well as in the industry field. Our flagship ITM PGDM program are approved by AICTE Ministry of HRD, and our ITM Business School Chennai is ranked 23rd by Times Group B School all over the India and also ranked A++ by Business India in the year of 2019. Without any further delay, we'll be moving on to our agenda of today's faculty development program. Introduction of the speaker, followed by speaker presentation with the session content as follows. Evaluator's role, evaluation process, delivery, driving performance, delivering excellence. The last 15 to 20 minutes will be taken care of question and answer session. I kindly request all the participants to raise your queries through the chat window along with your email and name. The speaker of the day, Mr. Pintu, will answer all the questions during the question and answer session, but if anything remains unanswered, we will email you within 2 days. Your e-certificates will be issued via email within a week time, and I also kindly request all the participants to make sure their username should be proper as per their registration. Request all the participants to remain in mute for the entire session for the proper cooperation. Henry Cloud, an American author, once said, "The natural response to evaluation is to feel judged. We have to mature to a place where we respond to it with gratitude and love the feedback." We are all here gathered today how to be a best evaluator. Today, we have among our very own Pintu Champ Mahato for this faculty development program. He's a trainer in corporate grooming. He's currently working as an assistant manager in HCL technology and an adjunct faculty in ITM Business School Chennai. His hobbies is public speaking, and he's a professional host for the event management and mentor to the public speakers and leaders. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, Pintu sir. And now over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all the faculty, students, and staff, those who have joined for this special faculty development program meeting. And what I heard last, as Professor Mani was also telling, that we have participants from all across Tamil Nadu. I hope all across India have also joined, and it would be a great honor. I heard that in the last meeting we had resources joining internationally as well, which speaks volumes about the brand ITM, which they are spreading across the world. Well, good evening. Thank you, Indu, for giving me such a platform, and I always love to interact. And this topic, when it was initiated that what should be taken by me for the faculty development program, now I was brainstorming, and then Gulshan, I told Gulshan that how about feedback, and how about evaluation techniques, which a lot of faculties and a lot of resources do take that, but how much serious they are, that is a question mark which we don't have a correct answer to. So I come from the world of Toastmasters, which is the platform for public speaking. I have been an evaluation champion at our area and district level. So this topic as evaluation and feedback is very dear to me, because this is one, as I said, this is one such mantra that has helped me personally, and that is how I will be also taking examples as how I am personally benefited through this feedback and evaluation processes and techniques, and how I, at this young age, have become or achieved whatever little bit that I have achieved so far. And as I understand that there are a lot of senior people in this forum who are well experienced in their subject matter, and thank you. It would be great only to share my experiences, my techniques that I have learned across these years. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of experience in your subject matters, but implementing these simple techniques would only help you become a better individual, a better professor, a better faculty at large. So let us get started, and let us see how evaluation and feedback plays a major role in not only us as faculties delivering sessions. So now I would be talking about in two parts. One as something as we as faculties which we present to the students in the form of our content. Also, in terms of students, when we evaluate them, whether through their internal marks, whether through their examinations, or through their presentations, which is part of our internals that we consider for marking them. So I'll be categorizing them, each of my points, in both those aspects. Looking forward that all of you are, attentive, and wherever you are, this is a lovely evening in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai particularly cloudy. I'm looking forward. I'm happy, and lots of learning to us. Let us begin with this session. I would have my slides up now, and I would request the presenter to load the slides.
Astra sir, could you please share the screen? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, let's get started, and we'll see what are the major key takeaways. As Professor Mani was also telling that what are the things that will go out with, what will be our takeaways. In corporate, we always talk about take home. I hope since we are all in home now, so let us take inside our home whatever is coming across. So yeah, as Indu was telling, we would go across what is the role of an evaluator. If we are evaluating whether it is ourselves or the students, what is the role? We'd also undergo some of the processes that is commonly followed. My favorite is the third point, which is the delivery. Delivery is something which, you may be the best, the statistician, you may be the best mathematician, you may be the best, resource that we have. But unless you're able to deliver your evaluation, unless you're able to deliver your feedback, the person to whom we are sharing our knowledge and our skill may not be able to receive that. And as faculties, as professors, as academicians, we understand that in our shoulders lies a major responsibility across all the MBA schools and business schools and all the other institutions that we are associated with, is driving performance and then taking it in delivering excellence as well. So that is the last two things which we would be discussing elaborately on. Setting up the expectations that it won't be too much of a GAN session, and also not a lengthy session. I have very strict content, but some of the points from my personal life, some of the points from your personal life, some of the key learnings is what we will discuss, some of the proven methodologies. And I am happy to announce that something which I have devised is also coming up. I have not patented it, but something which I have learned across is also coming in these slides upcoming, which is like a formula. And let us see how we go. Let us start with the evaluator's roles. All right. Now, we have to understand first is what is evaluation and what is feedback. I'm pretty sure these two words ring a bell in our head. What is evaluation and what is feedback? Now, I would like you guys to just put up some phrases in the chat session as you hear this word evaluation and feedback. What in your words is the difference, or what according to you is evaluation and what is the feedback? I would take a look at the chat session in a moment as you guys brainstorm and write. But as an evaluator, we have to understand what is our role. As an evaluator, we have to understand what we need to do when we are an evaluator. So yeah, the first thing is providing an honest reaction. As Professor Mani was, he set the context right in front that when we have to make a positive impact in whoever our resources are or whoever we are sharing our knowledge, is we must be honest to ourselves. We must provide an honest reaction that whatever we listen, suppose in this scenario, let us now categorize as a faculty, what is our reaction? Now, we developed a content to deliver in our session, and we understand that we took the class, we took the session, and we understand we need to understand that how many in a class of say 30, 35 or 40 odd students, how many of them actually got the crux of the topic that was covered in that particular day. We have, when we walk out, and I do it, and I have been regularly doing it. When I walk out of the classroom after taking the class, I just ponder upon and reflect and have a reaction among myself only that, okay, did I do, or did I give my 100%, or was the message that was to be conveyed was spread across all the 35, 40 students? So this is just kind of a self-evaluation that we do. When it comes to the students, when we are evaluating, when we are judging a presentation, or we are judging an overall report of an individual, of a student for that matter, are we providing an honest reaction, not a bias? Again, as they say in evaluation, we judge the presentation, not the person. That is what should be in our mind every time when we evaluate. It has to be in a constructive manner. Now, what is a constructive manner is in our Toastmasters fraternity, what we do is that we always go ahead and ensure that the evaluation that we are doing is done in a constructive manner. What is a constructive manner? Let us understand. We hear a speech, we hear a marvelous presentation, we see the speaker, the motivation, and all the energy of the resource who he or she presents on the stage or on a dais, and then we are asked to evaluate. Now, we always point out the positives that we see in an individual, in a resource. We point out in bullet points that this and that is specific. We never do in a generic way, or as yes, you are a good speaker, you are a fabulous speaker. No, we tend to avoid such jargons which any layman for that matter can do. If you ask, how did you like the speech? Or how do you like the presentation? It was good. It was very good. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. These are the common things which we'll be hearing. But we as evaluators, we are more specific. When we tell good, when we tell fabulous, what was fabulous? And for us Toastmasters, we in fact note the time that in the second minute, or in the second slide, or in the elaboration of that incident, what was the fab part, or what was the out of the box incident, or what was the out of the box learning, or a fact that came across, or that was put across. So we always dissect the speeches or the presentations in a way that the speaker feels valued for whatever presentation he or she does. And that is what we call it as a constructive manner. As Professor Mani was also telling, we never use the word, no, this was not right, this was not wrong in our evaluations. We always use this phrase, and I would request everybody to note this, all the professors who are there. We always use this phrase, areas of improvement. We never say that, no, you did this wrong. These are the things which you should always avoid. We always use this phrase, areas of improvement. So whenever, next time when you come across and you want to share some of the points which were not so good in your opinion, which was not so great, or you felt that these can be told in a different way, we always tell that in areas of improvement. Another thing, as a role, as an evaluator, it's an opinion that we are sharing. And opinion is always considered as an individual opinion. Now, the person who has presented, the person who has given a speech or has done a presentation or a demonstration, you as an individual are only highlighting your thoughts, your opinion. You should not, bring around elements, references saying that because so and so person told, you also feel. So, and that is where it is touching upon the first point also, that an honest reaction, what you feel is an opinion. It can be as a guideline which the speaker or the presentation may or may not take, but you provide an opinion. You have to understand the objectives. A lot of times we have seen the evaluators or the presenters or the people who are asked to evaluate, they do it in a generic sense. They may have been judges, they may have been evaluators, they may have been examiners out in the in the in the field, in the classrooms and other forums. But what is specific to that objective? If I am evaluating a session, a presentation on, say for an example, management studies or HR and human resource, a syllabus or a class or a presentation which an individual is presenting, say on agriculture sector or an FMCG sector. So what are the objectives that are laid down, and are we evaluating or are we presenting our points, our reactions and our opinions in that boundary? We are not taking this away in a different direction, in a different perspective at all. So we have to understand the objectives, and this is what we do extensively before any speech or before any presentation. An evaluator is told that these are the objectives, and this is done before the even session starts or before even the presentation or the speech starts. The evaluators are supposed to know the objectives of the speech or the presentation and then provide an opinion and provide an evaluation whether he or she met the objectives or not. Role, if we are taking a role, then why are we taking a role? And that's why I call it why evaluation. As faculties, it is our duty. It is our prime duty that we show the light. We show the direction. We are as being the culture of our country, that outside a family, when mother and father are the main persons behind the development of a child, it's the teachers, it's the gurus that shape an individual, inspire or motivate an individual to become a better person in life. So why evaluation is that you have to understand that you are doing a noble deed by providing inputs, the areas of improvement, an honest reaction, which is obviously constructive, and you understand the objectives of what that individual is trying to achieve. So do extensive evaluation. And when I say why evaluation, you should also do your individual evaluation as well. As faculties, we need to evaluate ourselves. Did we reach out to the students? Did we reach out to all the resources that we were addressing? That is something on a self-evaluation part. So understanding these roles will help us adapt the role of an evaluator in a better way. Next time when you evaluate, touch upon this point. Can we have the next slide? Well, this is a systematic diagram where spread across every, whether it is professional environment, whether it is an academics, whether it is any organization for that matter, where we emphasize on, the improvements, we emphasize on the results. Whenever there is a goal-oriented approach, this is how, the basic structure looks. So we laid out the criteria, and as I was telling, the objectives, the criteria are laid out. The analysis is done based on the criteria as, okay, what are the things that we need to achieve? Then we do the act and give our performances. The approaches that we use to deliver the performances are individual, and that can be diverse, that can be monotonous, that can be out of the box, anything for that matter. We then do the assessment, and then we do, or for a largest perspective, give a feedback. We then compare the results. That's okay. This is what we were expecting. This is the result. This is what the feedback was shared, and whether it has been improved or not. So again, the improvement point, and this is the entire cycle that runs through. In a professional environment like HCL, Wipro, any of the company, MRF for that matter, any professional environment, we have the cycle of review, performance review, when we call it performance review. What do you mean by performance review? It is only evaluating that compared to 2019, 2018, 2019, did the resource in 2019, 2020 show an improvement? As you can see, the last point at the screen is an improvement. If the improvement was done, can we quantify that in terms of a number or in terms of, or in a qualitative way. Was it good? Was it average? Was it better? Was it exceptional? So these are the relative terms that we use when we, judge the evaluations or mark a resource in a professional environment. I'm pretty sure in academics also, I remember the good old days, and thanks to some of the educational reforms that have happened over the years. When I was in standard 1, I used to get ranked, but similarly in LKG and UKG. But nowadays I hear that they will not be given ranks, but they will be given grades, which is not the way of quantifying, but in a way of qualitative analysis. That what was the improvement, whether the student was good, whether the student was average, needs improvement, or exceptional, very good, excellent, kind of a thing. But again, the improvement is what everybody is concerned about. And we as faculties should have that key eye that we are understanding that if we see the resources, students, where they're heading to. We know in this dynamic world, they have their, they have wings. And in this digital age, and me and Gulshan often have this conversation that how students of this age do not value that specific Gurukul system that always used to be there as Indian culture, and how they have got their wings and they can think anything and everything. They can argue, they can debate, they can voice out everything. So at this age, we as faculties, we as experts, subject matter experts, we need to understand that our job has become a bit more challenging, a bit more responsible we have to become. We cannot take it for granted that students will be just like that, accepting what we say. So when we are not evaluating in proper terms, in proper parameters, showing them that this is the comparison, this is what a student of your caliber can achieve, we are not setting the right context, then they may not consider you or your evaluation so seriously, rather, for that matter. So on that note, let us go to the next section, which is a movie time. And here is a special appearance, bringing in a special personality, a world-renowned personality. Let us hear one of the serious problems that he has talked about in this video. Everybody put in your earphones to have a better clarity and better reach. Please play the video.
Everyone needs a coach. It doesn't matter whether you're a basketball player, a tennis player, a gymnast, or a bridge player. My bridge coach, Sharon Osberg, says there are more pictures of the back of her head than anyone else's in the world. Sorry, Sharon. Here you go. We all need people who will give us feedback. That's how we improve. Unfortunately, there's one group of people who get almost no systematic feedback to help them do their jobs better. And these people have one of the most important jobs in the world. I'm talking about teachers. When Melinda and I learned how little useful feedback most teachers get, we were blown away. Until recently, over 98% of teachers just got one word of feedback: satisfactory. If all my bridge coach ever told me was that I was satisfactory, I would have no hope of ever getting better. How would I know who was the best? How would I know what I was doing differently? Today, districts are revamping the way they evaluate teachers, but we still give them almost no feedback that actually helps them improve their practice. Our teachers deserve better. The system we have today isn't fair to them. It's not fair to students, and it's putting America's global leadership at risk. So today I want to talk about how we can help all teachers get the tools for improvement they want and deserve. Let's start by asking, who's doing well? Well, unfortunately, there's no international ranking tables for teacher feedback systems. So I looked at the countries whose students perform well academically and looked at what they're doing to help their teachers improve. Consider the rankings for reading proficiency. The US isn't number 1. We're not even in the top 10. We're tied for 15th with Iceland and Poland. Now, out of all the places that do better than the US in reading, how many of them have a formal system for helping teachers improve? 11 out of 14. The US is tied for 15th in reading, but we're 23rd in science and 31st in math. So there's really only one area where we're near the top, and that's in failing to give our teachers the help they need to develop their skills. Let's look at the best academic performer, the province of Shanghai, China. Now they rank number 1 across the board in reading, math, and science. And one of the keys to Shanghai's incredible success is the way they help teachers keep improving. They make sure that younger teachers get a chance to watch master teachers at work. They have weekly study groups where teachers get together and talk about what's working. They even require each teacher to observe and give feedback to their colleagues. You might ask, why is a system like this so important? It's because there's so much variation in the teaching profession. Some teachers are far more effective than others. In fact, there are teachers throughout the country who are helping their students make extraordinary gains. If today's average teacher could become as good as those teachers, our students would be blowing away the rest of the world. So we need a system that helps all our teachers be as good as the best. What would that system look like? Well, to find out, our foundation has been working with 3,000 teachers in districts across the country on a project called Measures of Effective Teaching. We had observers watch videos of teachers in the classroom and rate how they did on a range of practices. For example, did they ask their students challenging questions? Did they find multiple ways to explain an idea? We also had students fill out surveys with questions like, does your teacher know when the class understands a lesson? Do you learn to correct your mistakes? And what we found is very exciting. First, the teachers who did well on these observations had far better student outcomes. So it tells us we're asking the right questions. And second, teachers in the program told us that these videos and these surveys from the students were very helpful diagnostic tools because they pointed to specific places where they can improve. I want to show you what this video component of MET looks like in action.
Good morning, everybody. Let's talk about what's going on today. To get started, doing a peer review day, okay, a peer review day. And our goal by the end of class is for you to be able to determine whether or not you have moves to prove in your essays.
My name is Sarah Brown-Westling. I am a high school English teacher at Johnston High School in Johnston, Iowa.
Turn to somebody next to you. Tell them what you think I mean when I talk about moves to prove.
I think that there is a difference for teachers between the abstract of how we see our practice and then the concrete reality of it.
Okay, so I would like you to please bring up your papers.
I think what video offers for us is a certain degree of reality. You can't really dispute what you see on the video. And there is a lot to be learned from that. And there's a lot of ways that we can grow as a profession when we actually get to see this. I just have a flip camera and a little tripod and invested in a tiny little wide angle lens. At the beginning of class, I just perch it in the back of the classroom. It's not a perfect shot. It doesn't catch every little thing that's going on, but I can hear the sound, I can see a lot, and I'm able to learn a lot from it. So it really has been a simple but powerful tool in my own reflection.
All right, let's take a look at the long one first, okay?
Once I'm finished taping, then I put it in my computer and then I'll scan it and, take a peek at it. If I don't write things down, I don't remember them. So having the notes is part of my thinking process, and I discover what I'm seeing as I'm writing. I really have used it for my own personal growth and my own personal reflection on teaching strategy and methodology and classroom management and just all of those different facets of the classroom.
I'm glad that we've actually done the process before so we can kind of compare what works, what doesn't. So
I think that video exposes so much of what's intrinsic to us as teachers in ways that help us learn and help us understand, and then help our broader communities understand what this complex work is really all about. I think it is a way to exemplify and illustrate things that we cannot convey in a lesson plan, things you cannot convey in a standard, things that you cannot even sometimes convey in a book of pedagogy.
Alrighty, everybody, have a great weekend. I'll see you later.
One day, we'd like every classroom in America to look something like that. But we still have more work to do. Diagnosing areas where a teacher needs to improve is only half the battle. We also have to give them the tools they need to act on the diagnosis. If you learn that you need to improve the way you teach fractions, you should be able to watch a video of the best person in the world teaching fractions. So building this complete teacher feedback and improvement system won't be easy. For example, I know some teachers aren't immediately comfortable with the idea of a camera in the classroom. That's understandable. But our experience with MET suggests that if teachers manage the process, if they collect video in their own classrooms and they pick the lessons they want to submit, a lot of them will be eager to participate. Building the system will also require a considerable investment. Our foundation estimates that it could cost up to $5 billion. Now that's a big number, but to put it in perspective, it's less than 2% of what we spend every year on teachers' salaries. The impact for teachers would be phenomenal. We would finally have a way to give them feedback as well as the means to act on it. But this system would have an even more important benefit for our country. It would put us on a path to making sure all our students get a great education, find a career that's fulfilling and rewarding, and have a chance to live out their dreams. This wouldn't just make us a more successful country. It would also make us a more fair and just one too. I'm excited about the opportunity to give all our teachers the support they want and deserve. I hope you are too. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause to Bill Gates, who made a cameo in our presentation. But again, yeah, jokes aside, this was something which is very thoughtful. And even though it talks about the schooling system and some of the things that can be done on an elementary stage, but in business school, these thought process are more propagated, more brainstormed for that matter, that how we faculties can evolve ourselves from the traditional approaches to the modern digital ages. While we keep aside Bill Gates' vision of making America great, we Indians understand as faculties that how we can make our students great individuals, because we have our students who studied in Chennai and are ruling America right now in all the big MNCs of Google, Microsoft. So we understand as how our teaching has evolved and what great students we have mentored, we have taught. So taking a leap out of that is something that we also should understand. Now, going to the evaluation process, this is something which is a popular practice, which is called the Kirkpatrick levels of training evaluation. Obviously, the bottom-up approach, starting from the base, is when we as evaluators give a reaction. Now, what is the reaction? Is you can see that it is the general, the first-hand reaction that we give what we feel about the training or the learning experience. Then after we give the reaction, we highlight upon the learning. Again, taking into two perspectives, whether we are doing it for our own self or we are doing it for the resources that we are evaluating. So what is the learning? That, this is a measurement of the increase in knowledge. Now, whether I gave a reaction and the subsequent learning was implemented, whether the proper measures were taken so that things could be improvised, that is the learning part of this pyramid. Then comes the behavior. Now, after you have learned, it is just not for the very next session or the very next presentation. It should come in the behavior of that individual or that resource. That these are the areas, when we talk about these are the areas of improvement which we have highlighted upon, whether that particular resource or that particular student, whether that particular individual has implemented it throughout his other presentations and speeches, and as a result in his behavior as well. Because this evaluation is not just, let us also think about the psychological part of it, is that this evaluation is not just for a specific speech. Individual, if he or she learns the process, these areas of improvement can be implemented in his behavior, which will definitely help him or her become a better individual, a better resource in the future. Needless to say, with this behavior, the results are definite. When we react, when we give a reaction, when we implement the learning, when we adapt in our behavior, it is just the result which is definitely going to come in the positive direction, provided we have given our evaluations in a constructive manner, which Professor Mani was also highlighting at the start. So there are scenarios where we can influence an individual. So we have to be very mindful of the fact that how any student, any resource is going to take it. We'll take a look at how we will be using certain in the delivery part of it, that how we can emphasize on the delivery, because that is what matters. Let's have the next slide. Okay, this is what my favorite and which I always focus in. It is important to know that even though we may not be the best speaker, we may not be having a very good vocabulary for that matter, but in simple words also, if we deliver our evaluation, if we deliver what is our reaction, is our constructing feedback, or areas of improvement that we are stating to the students in that category, I'm pretty sure it's going to make an impact. Let us see. Get the info and stats right. Now, when we are giving an evaluation, we should always focus on the information that was shared across in the presentation or in the speech or in the demonstration, and the stats related to it. We just like that cannot question the research of that individual as, okay, how can you prove that, this is the stats, from where did you get, question the source and all those. That will only create a negativity. It will bring an element of toxic, it will create an element of toxic nature in this entire conversation and this process of evaluation. We should understand that wherever the information, we can very humbly ask that, have you verified the stats? If we have a doubt that, okay, the stats or the info that is being presented and we are not 100% sure that this is right or wrong and this is part of our evaluation, we should very humbly ask that, I appreciate that there are a stat, there is a lot of statistics, there is a lot of facts and figures that you have presented. My only request, or I wish to know that whether have you verified the stats for a reliable source, because in this world of WhatsApp University, even anything and everything can become a stat. So let us also understand the credibility of the source and the stats from where the information is being gathered and presented while you are evaluating any resource or a presenter. Show that you are genuinely interested. What is that in your delivery that you will do that show that you're genuine? You should not for the sake of evaluating, just like that evaluate. When I take my sessions, when I take my classes, or when I do the evaluations in Toastmasters for that matter, I take keen interest in the area or the subject that the individual covers. I try to relate that, okay, is he or she thinking, in that direction, or what is the perspective? We have to also understand the perspective of the speaker or the presenter. So that is where you have to understand that and make yourself, the popular phrase, walk into their shoes as well. You have to show your interest that the evaluation that you're giving is definitely upon your interest, and you want some valuable information to be shared from your end, and also help that individual become a better person or improve on certain areas. Personalize your language. Now again, when we tell about personalize your language, we understand that we cannot talk about generic stuff. We believe that, or the country believes that, or something like that. When since it's your opinion, as we covered in the objectives part, is that you have to tell, for me, I found it rather interesting. It was really, for me, it was one of a kind. So you have to give it on a personality that you were fantastic when you presented that particular incident. You were, you brought us into some important thought process when a specific incident or a specific issue was brought about in a speech or in a presentation. So in that way, you have to personalize. The individual will feel that, yes, touching upon the second point, that the person or the evaluator is genuinely interested. My favorite line: evaluate the presentation of the speech, not the person. That student or that resource may have abused you in the past, may have got into a clash with you in your thought process, may have behaved rather in a bad manner in a class or in a situation, and that is still in your head, and you're keeping that as something which you're not going to erase off, and that feeling is still there even though that individual has given an out-of-box presentation, a presentation or a speech or a demonstration, and you still tell, well, it was good, but I didn't like it. Why you didn't like it? Because that incident is still harping on your mind, which had taken place in the past. So that is why when we evaluate, we have to become those neutral individuals, and as the statement goes, evaluate the presentation, not the person. We need to promote self-esteem. As we become neutral when we evaluate, we have to understand that that individual who has taken that courage, first of all, we all understand how derogatory it is for a stage presence. If that individual has taken that effort to come on the stage, to present, to give a speech, to give a demonstration, we have to acknowledge that effort. We have to ensure that that individual gets that self-esteem to come back again and again. We should not demotivate that in that way. And that is why the last point is conclude with a motivation. When you conclude, and as in a regular speech, and that's part of the psychology, again, it is coming, that the start and the end, it will stick in our brains whenever we are receiving any kind of feedback or an evaluation. But in the middle, whatever was told will get evaporated. That's a common thing. It happens with everybody. And that is why in Toastmasters, what we do is when we are giving an evaluation, what is the time that we have? We just have 2 to 3 minutes. And in that 2 to 3 minutes, we have to evaluate a 15-minute presentation, a 7-minute speech, or a 10-minute demonstration. And it can be a half an hour session also. So that is how precise in 2 to 3 minutes that we got to be when we are evaluating. So when we are concluding, let us conclude with motivation. So let us also try to take one leap as we go into the next slide as what we should avoid while delivering. I was just talking, as I was using the phrases, that we believe that your presentation was great. See, in a panel of evaluators, or if you are the single evaluator, then please use personalized message. Don't, think that you are representing or you are the boss of the entire system. So you are an evaluator, or in a panel of evaluators, you are one individual. So you should avoid we think that presentation was not that great, or we think this was missing. We believe you can come back stronger, and we think that the audience didn't understand this. These are perspectives which we know that may have happened, but for that individual, as an evaluator, let us not take audience in our control. The audience has equal rights to share their feedback and their yes, unbiased evaluation is definitely one term. We should not think that they're not taking the audience perspective into the matter. You as an individual, as I told the parameters, what you as an evaluator have a specific role to do for that speaker. So let's motivate. Phrases like good leaders don't use this, great speakers avoid doing this gesture, that gesture. Okay, that was a pretty wrong thing to say. These phrases, we have to be very mindful of our phrases that we use when we are giving an evaluation report or an evaluation speech for that matter. Very important is that the exaggerated gestures and body language should be avoided. And I'm pretty sure this becomes very evident when I use the word neutral. See, as an evaluator, I can be the friend of that person. I can be the partner of that person. I can be a very close relative of that individual. But when we're evaluating, when we are neutral, let us present what is specific, touch upon the objectives, highlight on the areas of improvement, highlight on the great points that were told or that were presented. Exaggerated gestures will only give you or give the speaker a sensation that either you were too much into it, or you're taking it way beyond what the individual also thinks. The individual may come with a simple presentation, but because you wanted to prove that you are a great evaluator, or there's a panel of evaluators sitting, and you wanted to show that you are the the best evaluator of the day, or kind of that. Agreed. You may have a personality like that. Of sometimes I also overgo. My natural body language is a bit mad. But when I'm evaluating, I'm very much mindful of my gestures. I'm very much focused. I'm very much humble of my tone, the verbiages that I use. That has to be an effort when we are evaluating. Repeating a point is a complete no. We should not repeat a point just like that. We forgot one point, and we are trying to bridge between 2 points, and we are thinking that and let us repeat one point. So that is not a good sign of an expert evaluator for that matter. So let us not repeat a point. Comparisons, well, that is something which we have learned, and from our school life we have seen how negatively it impacts our students, our resources, when we start comparing that resource or that individual did this, did that, and you could not do it. We all understand everybody has that unique talent, unique caliber. Some resources are extremely sharp, some are average, some are good. But it is only we, the teachers, or we, the faculties, who can sharpen them in whichever level they are. We know not every finger is of the same size. So we as faculties, we as resource personalities, we as academicians, we must take this responsibility of an evaluator as a very serious thing. And that is where if we avoid these things, in my opinion, I'm pretty sure the individual who is listening or who is taking your evaluation and feedback will definitely implement and will have that kind of a bonding and liking. And I have been a mentor to many public speakers, many champions, and also in the corporate leaders. So I understand when they want to come back to you. That has been my success in this field. When I call myself a successful mentor, I measure my success when they come back. Just one shot, I can give, okay, yeah, you are good. These are the key points. These are excellent. These are some of the one time anybody of us can give. But when they come back to seek your advice, when they again send a speech, when they again send a draft, when they again send a presentation for a review and ask for a feedback before they go ahead and make a final presentation, that is something which I as a mentor has successfully achieved because they rely on the positive impact that I have given them while I'm grooming them or while I'm mentoring them. So let us try to avoid this. Some of the key points, the list can be vast, but these are some things which at the starting we can do it. Let us see now in the next slide. As Ashar, can we have the next slide? Yes. So this is something which I have, I call it my delivery cycle. If you see, this is which I have devised over the years of my public speaking, which I think has worked for me, is as a speaker, as a motivator, as a mentor, as a faculty person, as a resource person, or as an employee in the organization. When my interaction or my evaluation or my feedback is safe and my delivery overall is balanced upon these blocks. And in the center, you can see that's the key element, the pause. Whenever you're highlighting a very, very important, key message or a key factor that can help an individual, or that is the key message that you want to convey, that additional pause can leave a lasting impact on that individual. You can be loud, you can be confident, you can be slow, it can be fast as possible, and you can just jump on everything. But at the same time, you're calm, composed, quiet at times to listen. With surrounding that an element of pause, your delivery, and this is a key thing which, any speaker, all the faculties, we take, 60 minimum on an average, 60 minutes of a session. So I balance my delivery on this cycle. So this is something which I personally have devised. I'm loud, I'm confident, I'm slow also, and I'm quiet. Sometimes I'm extremely fast, calm and composed, definitely, but that pause is something which always does wonders for me. And that is why the students who love me, the students who keep coming back to me for feedbacks and evaluations, they trust me. And whenever I try to give them a message, the message gets inbuilt in their mind and they try to learn from it. Again, they also try to implement them in their behavioral skills. And that is something which is a success for me because this is what is working. All the faculties out there listening to me, I'm pretty sure everyone does that, but are we maintaining a balance or are we just having a monotonous way of finishing the syllabus or just looking at a presentation and giving, okay, it was good. I put a internal mark and then, okay, done for the day. I have 35 more students to check. So I will just put a normal reaction and then let it go. But I'm very much keen in evaluating each and every presentation. I'm so keen at times that I look for every word, every punctuation, and I get extremely agitated when students make mistakes in their presentation in punctuation, because we all know how punctuations can change the meaning of a sentence. We have English professors out here in the forum as well, and I understand, just because we didn't put a comma, just because we didn't give a pause at the right time, the whole meaning of a sentence could change. So let us be mindful on that. So this is one exercise. I give it to you, everybody. Everybody has it, but are they balancing? Is up to you. Can we have the next slide? All right. Now, when there are expert evaluators in this forum, and there are experts who has been giving evaluations and feedback to us, but are we taking it to the next level? That is something which I take this as when I ask for variety into evaluation. This is one of the points which Bill Gates was also mentioning in the video evaluations we see, the third bullet. The panel discussion. Now, the panel discussion is has definitely become a success now, and it is being used across all public speaking forums, general discussions. And when I was taking the subjects, and I've made it mandatory in my sessions, that if I have been given 16 classes or 12 classes, at least 2 classes of me will be having a panel discussion, or 3 classes and it was a huge success and a super hit among the students of ITM Business School. They still talk about it, and they come back to me and tell that, oh sir, that was something amazing. So I feel great, which I introduced the panel discussion where I made them evaluate. That's the twist in the tale. I was just an observer, where they were the evaluators, they were the HR heads, they were the resource persons, they were the resources coming in for interviews. I was just an observer, mentoring them. Now, when I talk about specialized evaluation, is something which, again, touching upon specifics. It can be like the introduction part. Now, specialized evaluation is what? We bring in a couple of subject matter experts. If a resource is speaking on, say, human resources, or a speaker is speaking on data analytics, or a speaker is speaking on any specific subject matter, we bring in experts and have them touch upon only that section of that speech or the presentation. However, there are 2 other evaluators who are touching upon, say, the body language, say, the vocal variety, who is more on the kinesthetic approach of the mind of an audience perspective. The other one is only looking into the grammatical part of it, whether or the ahs, ohms, blocks, foghorns, the pauses which were not so, or is he getting stuck, and all those. So these are the specialized evaluation. We have a subject matter who is keenly observing the content. We have somebody who is looking to the body language. We have somebody who is looking at the grammar and the pauses and the filler words that is used. So that's the specialized evaluation, not one individual. Again, video evaluations is something which we can do, and this is for us, as Bill Gates was telling in the video also. What we as faculties, when we walk out of the hall or we walk out of the classrooms, and when we try to evaluate ourselves, do we think this video and evaluations can help us become better in our classes, which we are the sessions that we take? That, okay, these are the points which I could have done better, or I could have answered, or I could have presented in a better way. Maybe that time it didn't strike in my mind. So video evaluations can help. Audio recorded, yes, if we are shy in the video or we are so camera conscious, let us do audio evaluations. This is again for the students when we feel that we have less time, so we have 35 students and we cannot, go ahead and review and evaluate and give a, kind of a brief and a detailed evaluation. Let us sit back, take our time, record for that specific resource or specific student, and send them the audio evaluations separately and individually. Stop the speaker evaluation. This is very dangerous at times and can, break the flow. It is like the speaker is speaking, and then say the speaker is not audible, the speaker is not well dressed, or the speaker said something very derogatory, unparliamentary, something, and we, straight away as an evaluator stop telling that, hey, please be mindful of the words. And in our Toastmasters, what we always do is we have these 3 basic things, and this is the ground rule that is set before the start of any meeting or any speech or any contest for that matter. We do not touch upon topics on sex, religion, and politics. So, stop the speaker evaluation is kind of the moment the person is trying to make any religious remark or any kind of arouse a sentiment, religious sentiment, we kind of tell that, hey buddy, this is going offline. Please generalize it and continue. So these are the different varieties of evaluations which we can try to take it to the next level. That is something which we can do as evaluators. Now, driving performance. So we all know that we are responsible faculties. We have been given this responsibility. We are the, in the terms of, God, like they say, the chosen ones. We are chosen ones is like, because we are responsible to drive so many resources to become great personalities in future. So we have to be concerned with impact of our ball. What is the impact of our evaluation that is going across to the resources, going across to the students for that matter. If the impact, and again, positive impact is what I'm referring to here. So we have to be mindful of how we are delivering our evaluation, because that is going to help the individual perform to the next level. We have to be globally minded and focused on context. Now, we cannot tell that, no, we do not appreciate. So students coming and presenting speeches of something, say, like gay marriages or something like that, any of the taboo topics for that matter. Okay. So we are not that, so much comfortable at that time. So we kind of tell that, oh no, you are pathetic. You don't have a knowledge, you don't know your culture. We start evaluating on that parameters, but we have to be mindful that all students have access. They are in the digital age. They are millennials, which we all refer to. They have access to knowledge. They can think anything and everything. So we have to also think on the context on what they're speaking. And if, we as faculties and we as guardians, we should always, tune them in a way that is very much positive, but we should not, have our orthodox kind of a mindset, which can only bring about a negativity in the resource whoever is presenting. They are liberal, let us also be liberal. So that is important. Powerful communication. Now, as I told, if we deliver well, we are the communicators. If our communication reaches our students, that is how Satya Nadella is ruling. That is how Akiran Shamajumdar is there. That is how, anybody for that matter. All the top personalities, they were once students of schools, of MBA colleges, and they are now the drivers. Even tell a politician to a global leader or anybody for that matter. We were all once students. So if we as faculties are not powerful communicators, our message may not reach. Even though we are thinking good, even though we want to create an impact, let us be powerful communicators. Let us be intellectually independent and neutral. And that is what, again, repeating that when we are evaluating and we want to drive performance, let us be independent and let us not generalize and compact of our thought process or taking in perspective of a specific local culture or or a biased thing, which I was one of the faculties were telling, not a biased manner at all, guided by strong personal values. When I tell personal values, and again bringing what we learn and what we practice in Toastmasters, is that we always follow, be it how much of a professional we are, we always practice this principle, or how much friendly we are. We always believe in respect, integrity, service, and excellence. So when we are guided, when we as faculties have those, personal strong values of respect, integrity, service and excellence, I'm pretty sure any student following us, any student learning from us will only imbibe those values from us. And that is why they will, or they are bound to deliver excellence, which we see in the next slide. Well, this source which I took, is from LinkedIn, that can be shared later. And, the 5 qualities of best business professors. What are the 5 best qualities? The things that we just discussed in the previous slide. When we deliver performances, the source is this. They can look forward. And as we go forward, it is time to drive excellence. And I can only quote, as I said, we have many experienced faculties among us listening to me, but I can only share my experience, my learning, whatever I have been. And we all know a great teacher is just not inside a classroom. This is what I believe and I practice. I am always, so much approachable, and let us all have this, mindset of being approachable. Now that, this pandemic has brought us to a standstill, and we are all, dependent on the virtual classrooms, it is only how approachable we are. So that is where we have to be just not inside a classroom, but beyond that also. And the best teacher always teaches from the heart, not just the book. Yes, books are the definite source of knowledge, but if you are teaching from the heart, I believe the connection is more sharper, more stronger. A couple of more quotes that we have in the next slide is, as gurus, and I'm pretty sure wherever Gulshan sir is, he believes in the learnings from the Gurukul system and whatever learnings. As gurus, we must ensure our students or our disciples should always be shown the light, whether they are good, even if they are bad and they have fallen in a trap. We are their gurus. We have to show them the light that, dear student, buddy, this is not the right path. Let us follow a certain methodology, a certain practice that will only help you. At the same time, the student may be again liberal or maybe completely out of the box. They may not agree, but at the end of the day, we are always their gurus. Let us show them the light. Let us show them the path. Whether they take that path or not is again how you motivate that individual different. As faculties, our feedback should be so impactful that tomorrow our students should emerge as geniuses in their respective profession. And that is why we see global examples throughout. All those big leaders whom we admire, whom we quote examples from, they were all once students. Maybe they had a bit of a more talent compared to an average student, but it was their teachers, their schooling system, their belief system, and how they were shown the light that they had rose to such great heights and such great geniuses. So we have a special responsibility, and as evaluators, we can only help them become better professionals. We will now go ahead and quickly see. Now this is something which I will see last, but this is a long video, but we will only play across, I think later, because the slides will be sent across, this can be pasted across the chat section. This is a very, very beautiful video. When we say a great teacher inspires, you all should see how, beautifully the resource person has told that what are the simple things a teacher can do to connect more with the students. And when we talk about evaluation, the evaluation also becomes an important perspective. We'll go to the next slide as we come to the closure. Now, task for the faculties. I always love this because when Professor Mani was talking about what is the takeaway, I want to give this thing that, assess this, and this is for the faculties as we review our evaluations, is let us assess our last term's sessions, whatever number of sessions that we took in classroom activities. Let us put a pause for the virtual classrooms, but let us think on the classroom activities. What were, the good things about that? What were the average things, or whether we were really excellent on a specific session, we were really engaging? What were those? Let us, try to understand and, maybe jot down now that we have got some extra time in our homes. Let us try to assess ourselves. In a virtual classroom, now the big challenge is how each one of us are going to ensure that our content, delivery, feedback, and evaluations are at par, which we were having in a classroom in-person scenario. So what are we going to do, or how are we going to ensure that whatever content we are presenting, whatever delivery we are giving, a feedback or an evaluation, are they creating the same amount of impact in a virtual classroom? This is something which is challenging, but again, we as faculties have this responsibility. This is a simple task for the faculties. Now a bigger task, as I have in the next slide, for the management. Okay, this is something which is a questionnaire kind of a session. As when we evaluate, we always have this questionnaire. This is again a screenshot of our Toastmasters questionnaire, that whoever is the person evaluating, now the evaluator's evaluation is also done. So that is the level of thing what we consider, that was the presenter adequately prepared. And you can use this sheet as a parameter when you are evaluating a particular resource or a particular presentation or speech. these are some of the questionnaires that you can go across, take a screenshot, whoever wishes to, and can have this as one of the parameters and one of the questionnaires while they are evaluating any speaker or any presenter for that matter. Now, the next slide has something which is review for the college management. Now, this is not just for the ITM group of schools, ITM group of business schools, but also all those resources have joined from the other colleges across Tamil Nadu and India. Is that how many number of feedback or evaluation sessions, are to be included in the respective syllabus? Now, have we kept, first of all, have we kept the evaluation sessions in our syllabus? If not, then how many are we going to keep? As I told, when I am given a series of 16 classes, I ensure that whenever the panel discussions are done, I keep the reviews and I keep the evaluation sessions parallel along with that. So I always ensure that I practice that. I reach out or a review for the colleges, whether how many they are going to keep. Second most important, everybody does. Okay, I will implement the evaluation system, I will implement the feedback system. But whatever the outcomes, whatever the suggestions are coming, how rigorously are we implementing that at the grassroots level? That is a question which I ask, or I request the college managements to review themselves where they are. If they are they maintaining it in a better manner? And again, it is the right of every faculty to know that what evaluation, how students, how staffs have evaluated them, and that let's publish the evaluation results to the respective faculties. At least at the end of the day, we can tell that yes, I have a better rating, and maybe I should deserve a raise for that matter. So that is something which we can always bargain. We are also working for our bread and butter. So something as faculties, when we are giving our best efforts, when we are giving our knowledge and our additional efforts, when we have these evaluations given to us, we can only tell them that, yeah, at least I have done good. Students feel I am better. Management also thinks that I am a very important resource for the organization. Shouldn't I deserve a raise for it? So, yeah, point of review for the college management as well. And on that positive note, we as faculties, let us continue to drive performance and deliver performance and drive excellence for that matter. Let us now go ahead and initiate some of the questionnaires, and let's reflect as whether we're average, we're very good, we're excellent, we're outstanding, and are we ensuring that the evaluation that we are providing to the students or the resources, are they getting benefited to them also or not? With this, my overall presentation is complete for this year. Maybe I can come with a lot of content later, but let us now open, and I'll now go ahead and quickly check on some of the chats, the comments that have come. And Indu, if you can help me on that as well.
Sure, Pintu, sir. It was a wonderful session, sir. So thank you. And moving on to the question and answer, we have a question from Aditya Pandey. So he asked that in current situation scenarios, examination are conducted online. So proctoring these is a bit challenge. Can you suggest some strategies?
Okay, is it only in respect to the examinations? That is what I wanted to understand.
Yes, in current scenarios, examinations are conducting online.
Excellent. And I just read this statement also when he talks about engagement of students in virtual classroom is low, and what steps can be taken. See, what I have experienced, whatever sessions I have taken, and we are also conducting a Toastmasters meeting in the online platforms. Now, when you ask that how the engagement can be increased. Now, if you remember, I took a student session also. Some of the faculties from ITM would be also remembering that I always give them certain tasks, because I want an engagement definitely. Now, unless and until if you give certain and activities for that matter. If you're not giving activities, it is, you are clueless whether we see now pictures on social media as how a smart student has just put a stand and a camera and his still photos, he is looking like this, as if the student is very attentive. Whereas it's just a still photo and the person is out there playing somewhere or doing something else. So, in that type of engagement, definitely we don't want. We as faculties, we want to ensure that there is more engagement, and that's why this, in a virtual classroom session, chat sessions are interactive, activities are interactive. So, I always, tell that, okay, let us have this 30 minutes of this, content sharing thing, and 30 minutes of the session where I'll just deliver the content. The next 15 to 20 minutes is only activities where, students who have already put comments in the chat, or I have given at the start of the session some of the activity, we'll review and we will assess and we will have an interactive session. That is one thing. In terms of examinations, now that is something, I really cannot have a say in that, because there are boards who decide the examination pattern. Now, this is something which I don't understand the nitty-gritties of how the examination pattern at an ICSE level or an university level. But what will be as a layman, as a professor, as a faculty, would be that, how an ITM also conducted in that way, that a simple question paper of 30 marks, a time was set, and there are tools, and I think some gentleman was asking about some of the tools. Now, there are sessions which you can set. There are online. There is something called a ProFs, PROFS. There are a lot of websites who are providing online tools, time-based tools, specifically to the exam point of view. That if you want to conduct a session, if you want to conduct an exam, say a 1-hour exam with say 10 questions, okay, say 5 objective or say 6 objective, 4 subjective type, and you give them 1 hour or 1.5 hour. So there are examination tools, and many of the sites are providing those platforms online, and that can be very much handy in this scenario where we want to conduct online exams. Yeah, Andu, if you can help me with some of the other queries. And yeah, I would also like some of the faculties to bring into anything which they have faced in terms of evaluation. I'm reading this statement from Sunny State. Mostly when we try to give students knowledge beyond syllabus, more than 90% object to saying is part of that. Why are we doing this? What to do in this case? Great. So I also do that. Now let me be honest. I also do that, but it is only again how much you are giving. I always try to give it in just 3 sentences. Suppose if I'm taking a session on managerial communication, okay, and I'm just telling that as per the stats, 80% of the managers have to be good communicators of that, and that has got nothing to do with the question in an exam or a syllabus that is there. So, or any other relevant example which I bring from the corporate to the student. So I always limit that to 1 statement or 3 sentences. I don't go ahead and tell that, oh, this is what is being practiced. I know, I have done this, I have seen this live in my example. So when I bring examples from the corporate, I keep it very short and very precise. And then whatever the content is there as part of the syllabus, let us focus on that. But we also know students today are smart enough. You cannot tell that majority of the students. I have had students who like to, and you also would agree, that they would do the research themselves. And it is not that we as faculty go ahead and study the book or do a quick research. They are also doing it. So some of the sharp students in the class would love those stats, and trust me, they will write those points in the assessments to get those brownie points. So it is how you maintain that balance. But yeah, syllabus first, all the other GANs, in a very short and precise manner. Next query, please.
So as you already said regarding the online tools for evaluation, Lavanya is a person who also asked for suggesting some more online tools for evaluation, sir.
Yeah, so I will give you. I know because I have conducted when I used to conduct for a different organization. It is proprofs.com. So you have an online quiz thing, and I think one quick query came from my very dear madam, Padmasini ma'am. Thank you for coming in. She has asked that. Essay question. So obviously that is something which let us try to avoid as much as possible, because we all understand that students at this age, when we talk about all this digital age, they don't want to write if that is correct, and that is the reality in all the entrance examinations or any kind of an examination that you take, whether take it to all the NEET exams or the university exams. They're more focused on the objective type. As far as essay questions are concerned, I would recommend a no. But if, as I was just describing, and ITM did it fantastic, when I was also evaluating, it was a question paper of 30 marks. There were 6 questions, I think, which are objective. And out of the 4, students had to attend only 2 questions, which are subjective type. Now, it is again the creativity of the student, and trust me, I was really happy to see some of the students who think analytically, and that has been the thought process of many young students now. They did not go for a subjective type. They knew that this type of digital assessment and all those, nobody will read pages after pages as we used to do in our exam, that, okay, we get a 40-page booklet, the person who fills up, the maximum number of pages will maybe considered to get a better score or kind of. No. Some of the students are very categorically placed, bullet points, differences, that's all. In just, there were 2 subjectives, so just in 2 pages they have completed. So that I'm talking about an MS Word document that they've taken. So let the creativity be with them, and we as faculties, let us also tell them that use your creativity in your answer sheets also when we are giving the evaluation or when we are giving the assessments online. So that is one thing which I will tell. And yeah, tools, as I told, I will get back with separate links. Nowadays, I think I just joined something called the Google Forms are extremely good. When we want to conduct an objective assessment kind of a thing, which is worked across every organization now. But there are third-party links, websites who are now hosting assessments and who are now giving that time-based analysis and assessments. So that can also be done. Some are paid, and some are very nominal charges. I think as an organization, it is worth an investment. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable comments to the questions. So, participants, if you have any questions with respect to the session today, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Aditya, you are a professor or a student? I would like to know so that I can interact separately if need be.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Aditya?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Aditya.
Yeah, I am associated with ITM Vocational University, sir.
Excellent, excellent. Nice to hear from you, Aditya. Good that you paid an attentive listening.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Pintu?
Yeah.
Gulshan here.
Yeah, Gulshan.
Yeah, Aditya actually is from ITM Vocational University, and we were working together when I was there in ITM Vocational University. Yeah.
Okay.
So we are as such colleague.
All right, all right.
He's a good friend of mine.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Aditya. Nice to hear. I would love to hear some of the faculties who have had a tough experience in terms of handling evaluations. And as faculties, we understand that when some of the not so good students in our books, they go ahead and kind of backfire our evaluation, or they don't take it, because they feel that no, they know everything, kind of a thing. So those scenarios, if anybody has had such a scenario where they were not able to handle the mood of the students, that is something which we as faculty should also discuss, and we also should brainstorm on such scenarios, because we understand that a lot of things which should not happen in in colleges and academics, especially given the student faculty relation is concerned, also comes. So, and that is where we, and when I bring this point, I always have maintained a very professional and friendly relation with the students, where I understand that my job is to ensure that when that individual or that student goes ahead and passes out from the college or university, leads a better life, has a good job, and becomes a better individual and a matured thinker. At times, we have students who may not be matured enough in their thought process. They may think that, this is something, okay, which they will get anyhow, or they may not understand the seriousness of a scenario. Because I've seen this, and this is one question which I always ask whenever I start a new batch, as why do you wanted to join this course, for that matter, or why MBA, or why engineering? Okay, so with their answers, we should also understand there. So it helps me as a faculty. It helps me to go ahead and understand their mindset. So later in the subsequent classes, when I try to interact or seek out answers or seek their attention or understand whether they're understanding or not, it helps me, because I relate to the answer that they gave, that why did they join this course, or what is their thought process, and do they have a specific goal in mind, or just for the namesake, just for the fancy, just for the degree sake, and all those things which is sometimes common, also plays into the mind. So all those aspects also I take into account while I assess and evaluate a student. Trust me, by my experience, all the students that I have joined have been, and this is what Gulshan sir also says, that he has got good reviews about me. I don't mind making it public. So I have maintained, and I always understand that, as I was saying, as a guru, we must always show them the light, because I know when I was there, and today Padmasini ma'am was there in the meeting. She is one of my faculty, and whom I admire as a motherly figure, from Dr. MJR Educational Research Institute. She has a great impact in my life, in Chennai, and I have learned a lot, and I admire her also a lot until today, even though she is quite aged, and but again she has that grit and confidence. So age for faculties, again, when I started this meeting, I may be very young and maybe a bit less in experience compared to many of you in the forum. But again, when I practice something religiously and when I've got the results out of it, I love sharing it. That is what I would have to say. So with that, Indu, if we have other questions or queries, I would hand over the control to you.
Thank you, sir. So participants, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. So considering that you covered all their queries into a wholesome, sir. It's a wonderful session, actually. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom towards these topics, which gives us a more inputs towards it. And the sharing of Bill Gates videos and all gives us more insight to connect with your views, actually. And you explain the evaluation process in a very understandable way. And moving on to that statement thing that you said, evaluate the presentation speech, not the person. It was my favorite line too. Because that is the one statement which each and every evaluator should be must keep in their mind when evaluating others. And thank you so much at last for quoting the most valuable words and making us understand, even in a simple word, that what is the most important part, what need to be avoided in terms of the evaluation. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us and making us doing a wonderful session here. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, let us, wherever we are, let us break for tea, coffee, and have a wonderful weekend. Hope, this lockdown ends soon and we return to normalcy, but virtual classroom is the next game for us. So all faculties, good luck to wherever you are. Make your presence felt, delivery, content, evaluation, let us make, and let us be great evaluators, great faculties, great, and ensure that individuals whom we train today become great personalities, great geniuses across. Thank you very much. This is me, Pintu signing off. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants who joined today and raised the questions. And thank you for all the faculties. And I request all the participants to make your usernames to be perfect, as like you done it at the registration for your certificates, and which will be reached to your email within a week time. I request all the participants to once again correct your usernames over the chat box if it is necessary. It was incorrect in your displaying name. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.